Hey, Mr. Freeman. I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 20 video games that reinvented gaming.
You know how expensive this gear is, son?
Tell that to the Covenant.
For this list, we'll be going over the games that left the biggest impact on the gaming industry, either through innovative new features or gameplay, or else because they helped popularize them. If there's a landmark video game we somehow didn't spot, please point it out to us in the comments. Number 20. GoldenEye 007. Although it hasn't aged particularly well, GoldenEye 007 is still rightfully considered an important video game. Essentially, it paved the way for first-person shooters to make the jump to consoles after being almost exclusively on the PC. Its campaign's objective-based missions that feature different gameplay variety, including vehicle sections, became influential for later games in the genre. Perhaps most importantly, GoldenEye's multiplayer made it a smash success and a fixture of college dorms and parties. Perhaps most miraculously of all, GoldenEye 007 proved that movie tie-in games don't have to be terrible. Number 19. Batman Arkham Asylum. A superhero game that rescued its whole genre, Batman Arkham Asylum delivers a suspenseful, satisfying story with great voice acting and spectacular gameplay. It's the last of these that has earned it so many copycats. Its combat system is fluid, acrobatic, and most of all, fun, and has been imitated by plenty of other games. In addition, Detective Vision, or something like it, has been a hallmark of games across genres since its release. Arkham Asylum didn't invent many of its best features, but it certainly polished them to such a high degree that everyone sat up and took notice.
Always with the hero speed. Ooh, I'm getting bored of watching you. Why didn't you just come find me?
Number 18. BioShock.
Rapture.
The artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality.
This FPS RPG hybrid wasn't the first of its kind, but it has definitely left an impact on the last few decades of gaming. BioShock combines political commentary, fast-paced action, and a gorgeously unique setting to create something that captures everyone's attention.
There's two ways to deal with a mystery. Uncover it, or eliminate it.
Its use of audio logs to convey a story, combining weapons and magic, as well as a choice between playing more heroically or more like a villain, have all become staples across many gaming genres. While its influence has led some to contend that its flaws are more glaring, we would kindly ask that everyone appreciate BioShock's merits and the mark it left on gaming.
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio? I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence.
Number 17. Street Fighter II: The World Warrior.
Round one, fight!
The fighting game genre didn't begin with Street Fighter II, but it may as well have. Street Fighter II almost single-handedly brought back arcades during the 1990s and made a big splash on consoles as well. It took everything from the previous game and refined it to perfection, and then its numerous re-releases and remasters refined them even further. Its combo system, varied characters who all have their own strengths, and ability to fight PvP have since become the gold standard for fighting games. Easy to pick up but difficult to master, Street Fighter II still has a devoted following to this day.
Round 2, fight!
Number 16. Half-Life.
Hey, Mr. Freeman. I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess.
Half-Life is one of the most influential FPS games ever made. The player controls scientist Gordon Freeman as he tries to escape an alien invasion in a secret facility. The level of immersion in this game was almost unprecedented, featuring lots of exploration and few cutscenes, telling its story mostly through gameplay and scripted events. Half-Life also features more puzzles and platforming than was typical for the genre at this time. In addition, its engine became the basis for many popular mods, which went on to become popular franchises in their own right, such as Counter-Strike. Despite its title, Half-Life's legacy has been long.
Got one!
Number 15. Final Fantasy VII. RPGs were around for decades before Final Fantasy VII. It was the 7th entry in its franchise after all, but prior to its release, it was still not a widely popular genre of video game, and the few popular RPGs in the West were Western in origin. Final Fantasy VII showed the world that JRPGs aren't just good, they're amazing. FF7 hit on all cylinders with its engaging characters and massive story. Its huge success contributed to PlayStation's early viability as a console and ensured that generations of RPGs and RPG fans were influenced by its blend of fantasy and cyberpunk. Number 14. The Sims.
Oh, voila!
Commence, Nana.
The first major life simulation game, The Sims allows players to simulate the lives of created characters as they go about their days. The degree of freedom allowed in doing whatever you want with The Sims was unprecedented at the time. Everything from daily chores to life-altering decisions are yours to decide on or put off. While deaths occur, it's possible to play it forever. Life simulation has become a common feature in games since its release, particularly RPGs, and it also helped popularize the life simulator in general. Number 13. Halo Combat Evolved.
And Cortana. Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
The first Halo game is aptly named, since while it didn't invent the whole FPS starring a space marine fighting aliens thing, more on that later, it did mark the next evolution of this trope and FPS games in general. Its controls remain responsive and hold up to today's standards. Its story is ambitious and fits seamlessly with the gameplay.
Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge ASAP. Better follow me.
Its multiplayer was the next big sensation, and its sequel, Halo 2, which nearly made our list, helps popularize online multiplayer on consoles. Halo Combat Evolved also proved a trendsetter with features like a more realistic 2-weapon limit and a less realistic regenerating health. If nothing else, it proved you could take gaming soundtracks to a new level of epic. Number 12. Metroid. Two games birthed the Metroidvania genre, and while Castlevania also deserves a nod, Metroid came first, and we would argue, did it better. Metroid follows bounty hunter Samus Aran as she must explore and battle alien villains throughout the labyrinthine tunnels of an alien world. Instead of the individual levels of its peers, Metroid features a single enormous map broken into smaller screens that players must jump, shoot, and roll through, collecting power-ups and defeating bosses along the way. It's also one of the first games to feature a female protagonist, and a badass one at that. While Metroid may not have the mainstream success or recognition of many of our other entries, it has influenced plenty of games, particularly among indie titles. Number 11. Pac-Man. What's so revolutionary about a yellow circle that eats pellets and avoids ghosts? How successful it was! Pac-Man was a runaway success, becoming a mainstay of arcades and seeing ports to nearly every system in the 1980s. Not only that, but it also spawned merchandise galore and even a hit song. Pac-Man fever was real, and it was the beginning of video games becoming not just a niche market, but a big part of a larger one. Oh, there's also the small matter of Pac-Man's simple yet addicting gameplay and iconic design. What is in those power pellets? Number 10. Grand Theft Auto 3.
I know this guy. He's connected. His name's Luigi. Me and him go back, so I could probably get you some work. Come on, let's head over.
There were open-world games before Grand Theft Auto 3, sort of, but it wasn't until this game arrived that open-world games became what they are today, because everyone copied it. GTA 3 features a map of unprecedented size for its time, as well as the freedom to do just about anything within the aptly named Liberty City. Its influence can be found in open-world games and other genres alike. As building games around story missions and side missions is practically a staple of gaming now. GTA 3 has seen plenty of controversy over the years, but that has arguably only helped its success.
Joey!
Number 9. Minecraft. You're shocked, we can tell. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 10 years, you know that Minecraft changed the industry. With its simple polygonal graphics, Minecraft doesn't look cutting edge, but it's in its gameplay and potential that the game has found its success. The ability to build and craft items after mining for materials is innately satisfying, as is the potential to build nearly anything you can conceive of in a virtual space. Games of all genres have taken cues from Minecraft, and crafting has become commonplace in every other game these days. Not only that, but Minecraft itself has remained popular and is still widely played. Number 8. World of Warcraft.
What can I do for you?
Speaking of long-lasting games, World of Warcraft has been going strong since its release, and it's hardly surprising. It's the MMORPG. There were other MMOs before it, and there have been plenty after it, but none have attained the meteoric success of WoW or have been as influential on the others. WoW popularized instance dungeons as well as raiding with large parties, and its massive world is at once full of detailed lore, but also built around entertaining the player. The gameplay is addictive, and at its peak, the game had around 12 million subscribers. Number 7. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat may have been riding on the wave of fighting games that followed in the wake of Street Fighter II, but arguably had an even bigger impact on gaming at large. While it's a solid fighter with a more realistic style, some great characters, and all the usual special moves, what really left its mark on the industry is how violent it is.
Raiden wins.
There's been violence in video games practically since their invention, but Mortal Kombat is almost single-handedly responsible for the modern video game rating system. Without Mortal Kombat, we're sure moral panic crusaders would have found some other game to get upset about, but as it is, MK has the dubious honor of founding the ESRB and similar organizations.
Liu Kang wins. Flawless victory.
Number 6. Doom. Speaking of incredibly violent games, Doom is another that left its mark on gaming. While not technically the first FPS, Doom codified many of its tropes and popularized them, to the extent that for years afterwards, FPS games were initially labeled Doom clones. When an entire genre of gaming is literally named after you, that's when you know you've made it. Doom also introduced the now prevalent Space Marine protagonist, and helped inspire many horror or horror-related games through its demonic enemies. FPS games have dominated a large part of the market for decades, and we wouldn't have any of them without Doom. Number 5. The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda series has been one of the most impactful franchises in gaming history. As tempting as it was to discuss Ocarina of Time and its impact on 3D adventure games, the first game in the series is even more important. The original Legend of Zelda helped pioneer many concepts and features that adventure games still utilize, including a fantasy setting, inventory screens, a mini-map, as well as a non-linear overworld that feels years ahead of its time. It was also the first console game capable of saving progress, which is kind of a big deal. As cliche as it is to say, The Legend of Zelda is a legendary part of gaming history. Number 4. Tetris. So simple, and yet so addictive, Tetris tasks players with matching blocks of various shapes into rows to eliminate them and prevent them from stacking too high. Studies have been done on the effect playing it has on the brain. It has been remade and remastered countless times on everything from consoles to phones, which has ensured its place among the top-selling games ever made. Tetris essentially started the puzzle genre. Without it, an entire genre of gaming probably wouldn't be the same, and what feels like half of mobile games wouldn't exist. Number 3. Pong. To the modern eye, Pong doesn't look like anything special. It's two paddles hitting a pixelated ball back and forth. It wasn't even the first video game title or the most complex of its peers, but it was the game that jump-started the gaming industry's popularity. Its simplicity meant anyone and everyone could pick up and play it. Pong was instrumental in the success of not only early arcade machines, but also the first home consoles. It laid the foundation the gaming industry was built on. Not bad for some little pixel paddles, eh? Number 2. Super Mario Bros. Yep, it was only a matter of time before we got to Mario. While not the famous plumber's first game, Super Mario Bros. Basically invented the 2D platformer, inspiring decades of games and launching one of gaming's longest-running juggernaut franchises. Its controls are precise, its music, characters, and levels are all iconic. Given its degree of success, it's sometimes seen as the game that pulled console gaming out of the hole it was in after the gaming crash of 1983. And because of how widely played it is, the influence of Super Mario Bros. Has echoed throughout the gaming industry. If you look hard enough, you're sure to find something in most games that can be traced back to it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Super Mario 64.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool. Peach.
Look, we usually try to keep things to one entry per franchise, but come on, it's Mario! It's only natural that the biggest landmark games are from gaming's most famous franchise. If Super Mario Bros. Reinvented 2D games, then Super Mario 64 is the benchmark for 3D ones. Open-level design and emphasis on exploration echo in open-world games today. Even something as simple as an adjustable camera was so revolutionary that there's even an in-game explanation to explain what it is. Super Mario 64 fired the imaginations of gamers and game developers alike, and gave us a whole new dimension to play in. Wahoo! Indeed.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.